Hello, and welcome to the Ash Christine Designs YouTube channel where I host my knitting podcast as well as some vlogs and some other fun videos. Today is Saturday, September 16th, and autumn is in full swing. We've had a few days where the temperatures have dipped a little bit. Of course, living in the South, we're definitely going to see the heat for a little bit longer, but we have had a few days where it's not blisteringly hot, which has been great. If this is your first time on the channel or your first time checking out one of these podcasts, my name is Ash, and everywhere that you can find me is linked in the description box below this video, including Instagram and Ravelry, which are my two most active social media accounts. Like I said, today is Saturday, September 16th, and this podcast is episode 20. I'm so excited to finally be at episode 20. It's been a long time coming. I did take a break from the podcast for like a year or so, trying to figure out life stuff and everything, which took a long time. But I've been consistently posting again since like earlier this year. I think March was probably when I picked it back up again. And I'm just so excited to be at episode 20. I have some quick pattern news, and I'll pop some pictures somewhere on the screen here. My repertoire beanie has been re-released. I first designed and knit this pattern in 2017, and it was my very first beanie pattern, and I love it. I think it's a great one. But I did update the instructions, and I updated the patterning just a little bit. If I can find a picture of the old version, I will pop a picture somewhere right there to show you kind of the difference between the two of them. But yeah, I just updated the design overall, and I updated the instructions and everything. So that is now live on Ravelry and on Etsy, and I believe it'll go live on Lovecrafts sometime later this week. But yeah, that is all of the pattern news that I wanted to talk about, and now I can jump straight into my finished objects. Which, if you saw last episode, then these finished objects will come as no surprise to you. I have 3 finished objects, and they're all pumpkins. So I'm going to go through them one by one. The first one is one that I had on the needles last episode. It is the slip stitch version. It's a really fun textured pumpkin that I posted a picture to my Instagram story, and I was like, does this kind of remind anybody else of an apple? And people were very nice and said no, but I feel like it's very apple-y. I think it might be the color. So this pattern is the Oh My Gourd fingering weight pumpkin pattern, which is coming out October 1st, that I've been talking about forever. The yarn I used was Knit Pick Stroll Mini Packs in the rainbow colorway, and this one is the pea pod colorway. So the Knit Pick Stroll mini packs come as a set of 6 colors. This one came as a set of 7 because it has the rainbow colors, and then it has an extra white skein for you to use with them. But I am using the leftovers of my rainbow mini pack to make pumpkins. So yeah, so this one's the pea pod colorway. The needles I use are the same for all the pumpkins. It's US 2.75 millimeter. And for this particular pumpkin, I started it August 28th and I finished September 4th. Usually it wouldn't take me that long to do it, but I did have some issues with the decreasing. I think it came out really, really well. I like the way that it kind of pulls together. I like decreases that you can't even really see in the finished product. I love when they look kind of seamless with the design. And the more that I was trying to do that, the more I was having issues with the actual pumpkin. But I think I managed to do a pretty decent job. There is one tiny little mistake with this pumpkin. I'm gonna see if I can find it right there. There is a knot right there. I had an issue where my yarn broke, and I thought it would be a good idea if I did a magic knot instead of having loose ends on the inside of the pumpkin. And that was a mistake. Because the magic knot, as soon as I stuffed it, came right through to the front, and it's just there. But I'm the only one that knows it's there, and now you guys are too. So when I take finished pictures, I'm just gonna take it from the right angle. Yeah, so that one's that one. And then the next one is the cabled one. And I freaking love this one. I love this one so much. So if you've been following for a while, or if you recognize my patterns, I had a worsted weight version come out, and this is the stitch pattern that is in the worsted weight version. It's just a very simple cable, and it's like my favorite way to knit a pumpkin. There's just something about a cabled pumpkin that's just so precious. It's so precious. So yeah, this one is exactly like the stitch pattern included in the worsted weight version. It's just sized for fingering weight. But yeah, so details about this one. This one also used Knit Pick Stroll mini packs in the rainbow colorway. This particular colorway is Duchess Heather. And this one did not take me that long to knit. I started this one September 4th and I finished it September 8th. I think it helps that this is a stitch pattern I've knit pumpkins out of a million times. So it was kind of easy for me to figure out the decreases when it came time to actually knit the decreases. So yeah, I love this one. And just like the others, this one used US 2 2.75 millimeter needles. And I freaking love it. I love it so much. I think it's so cute. I'm definitely going to show some favoritism to this one because I love it. But the next one is the large one. So I have finished all of these small samples and now I just have all of the large samples to knit. Here's my large one. It's freaking huge. I love it. This one is the slip stitch pattern. So it's a nice textured detail. I don't know if this is any better of a look at it than the green one, but I'm going to hold up the green one too to show you the size difference. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of the difference. I freaking love it. This one, and they're really good to stack too, if you didn't know. I'm going to include some information about, like, if you want to stack them, then, you know, like leave off the stem on the largest one and then stack, you know, because I do think stacked pumpkins are really great. Stacked pumpkin information aside, this one used Knit Pick's Stroll in the Sapphire Heather colorway. This was not one of the mini packs because this used a little over 20 grams. I think it used about like 24, maybe 25 grams. It actually doesn't use that much. I thought it was going to use like a full 50 gram skein and it didn't. It used 17 grams of an old one and then, like I said, like maybe 4 or 5 out of the new one. So it didn't really use that much yarn. This one also did not really take me that long of time to knit. I started it September 8th and I finished September 14th. So really not a whole lot of time spent working on this one. It helps that the decreases were already figured out for me because I went through that trial and error process with the green one. So I just had to kind of reimagine it for a larger stitch count and it was fairly easy. My only thing about the large pumpkin, and I'm going to try to see if I can fix it in the next few versions, is with these ones, the little ones, they have a very clear concave on the top, very clear concave on the bottom. I don't know how well that's showing. This one has a really good clear concave on the bottom, and I don't feel like it has that good of a concave on the top. And part of that is because it is rather tall. I think it's fine. It still has the pumpkin shape. Everyone can look at this and know this is a pumpkin. I don't know how many blue pumpkins are out there, but they're out there. Yeah, so that is something I'm going to keep in mind when I knit the other 3 samples, the ribbed, cabled, and the stockinette sample. I'm going to try to figure out a way to really make sure that that top is concave, so it keeps that good overall pumpkin shape. But yeah, that's my only thoughts on these pumpkins so far. They all look really good together. I'm really happy with the yarn that I've chosen for each of these. And these are all actually using Knit Pick Stroll. I have a skein picked out that I'm going to use for the ribbed, but I may actually swap it for another Knit Pick Stroll. Because I thought that Knit Pick Stroll was going to work up a little thin, but it really hasn't. I thought with the stuffing, especially the cabled, I thought you were going to be able to see the stuffing through it. And so I had like reservations about using Stroll for all of the samples, but I really like the way that they're all turning out, and I just think that keeping them all with one not required yarn, but like yarn that's called for in the pattern, using one yarn across all the samples, I think is going to be a great way to really see how each stitch pattern like works up. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the pumpkin stack. Lots of pumpkins, and I still have a few more to knit. So that's all of my finished objects. I'm still in pumpkin land, and I'm probably going to be in pumpkin land the next time I come at you guys. By then though, the pattern should be out if I'm mentally mapping out when I'm supposed to film again. I think I'll be filming again right before the pattern releases, actually. But yeah, pumpkin time. So moving on into my works in progress, I have another pumpkin to talk about because, like I said, I'm in pumpkin land, and if you're not, you should join me because pumpkins are great. But yeah, so my work in progress is my next pumpkin, which is the large cabled version. I don't know how well that's gonna actually show up on camera, but yeah, I am 2 repeats in, and this is my first time knitting the large fingering weight cabled, so I don't know how many repeats it's actually going to be. Once I get a few more repeats in, I'll take some measurements and then see how tall I actually want the pumpkin to be and go from there. This one is also using the same needle size. It's US 2.75 millimeter, and it is Knit Pick Stroll in the strawberry colorway, which is a really good colorway. Which the this colorway is included in the Knit Picks rainbow mini pack. But this is a full skein that I have. Well, actually, it's a little leftover. It's a little leftover that I have, I think, from the rainbow mini pack. But I have another full skein, so when I run out of this, I can attach the new skein. My only other work in progress that I've made any type of progress on is my Sweet Girl shirt, which is this mainly stockinette baby shirt that's got some fun detailing at the sleeves and everything. The sleeves are not finished. I have to pick them up and do the actual like sleeve cap. But yeah, it's a fun little baby shirt that I have been working on for what feels like forever, but I didn't cast it on until, oh gosh, I want to say like June, maybe July. Yeah, so it's not been on the needles that long. It just feels like it's been on the needles a long time. But I did make some progress. I wanted to show you my stitch marker here. So that's where I was the last time I recorded, and I've knit like maybe an inch since then. I really wanted to focus on this and get it finished in time to send it out. I know someone who's sending some things to a friend that had a baby, so it's not even a person I know them through another person. And I really wanted to be able to send this along with what they're sending, but it's just not going to happen right now. So I may table this, finish it later, and then gift it to someone, because I always know people having babies. Every time I turn around, there's someone else telling me they're having a baby. Ah, the joys of hitting your 30s. Everybody that you know has babies. But yeah, so that's just a quick update on this. I don't know when you guys will see this again, because I am very close to the end, so I would love to power through and finish this. But without that deadline looming over me, I may push this to the back burner and finish some other things that I want. So we'll see. Quick details about this. This is the Sweet Girl shirt pattern by Rena K. The yarn I'm using is Lion Brand Kobu in the mauve colorway, and the needles I'm using are US 4 or 3.5 millimeter. But yeah, with the pumpkin samples that I have going on, and then I have another sample for a pattern that's coming out. It's supposed to be late September, but it might end up being early October, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. With that sample coming up and the pumpkin samples, I really don't see getting this done without a deadline anymore. So, like I said, this one might get pushed to the back burner, and I'll finish some samples, and then I may work on some other projects before I actually circle back to finishing this one. But we'll see. Sometimes the muse hits, and you're just like, I just want to knit on this one. The last thing that I want to talk about here today is some yarn acquisitions, and I'm going to try to show them all on the camera, on the screen at once. Look at them, they're so pretty. Oh my god, they're so pretty. I love this yarn so much. Okay, let me talk details. So all of this is yarn from Sinful Yarns, which the dyer for that is Alaska, who's great, okay? Like, first of all, check out the color. Just the saturation on her skeins, I can't even. It's so good. It's so good. She's so amazingly talented, and just like, look at the speckling. Look at the, or I didn't mean speckling, I meant like variation. Look at the variation. Look, just, I can't even. This one's got good speckling too. That one's got really good speckling. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna try to calm down and actually talk about it. Okay, in no particular order, I'm gonna run through the colorways and show you each of them. And then I'll kind of explain what I'm gonna do with them. So this one's called Into the Woods. It's this beautiful deep green with like hints of yellow throughout and some hints of darker green and browns, and there's even some red speckling in some areas. I freaking love this colorway. And these are all on her fingering weight base, which is 85% superwash merino wool and 15% nylon, and there's 437 yards in 100 grams. So yeah, so this one is Into the Woods, and I'll show you her little label there. Next one, which I showed forever because this one's got such good variation. This one's called Mossy Oaks. Yeah, this one I also love. I'm gonna say that for each one of these and then be like, no, I do love them all, because I do. They're so pretty, and Alaska is so talented. She, seriously, if you ever need yarn, Alaska's my girl. Like, look at this. I'm gonna do that with each of her skeins. I'm sorry, there's nothing else to say about them. They're just incredible. Next up, and like I said, these are in no particular order. Next up is Sea Turtle, which, this one's so cool too. I love them all. Ugh, so cool. Okay, this one's called Sea Turtle. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And they go together. Like, they freaking go together. They're just, anyway. Next up is called Fish Are Friends, Not Food. And look at how, oh god, the speckling, the variegation, the saturation. I can't look at the green. I'm losing it. I'm sorry. My deepest apologies. I'm completely losing it. But yeah, this one's Fish Are Friends, Not Food. And then the last one is Stay Out of the Forest, which honestly, I know I keep saying this one, but I mean, I keep saying this for each of them, but this one might be my favorite. Like, freaking look at the speckling. Freaking look at the saturation. Like, oh my god. Is this episode going to be called The One with Even More Pumpkins, or is it going to be called The One More I Gush Over Sinful Yarns? Is the label for this one. Stay Out of the Forest. And yeah, just like all together, they're just absolutely incredible. And I don't think I'm going to be able to hold them all again in a way that looks good, but that's 3 of them. And they're so pretty. They're so pretty. And I hope that my camera picks up well enough that you can see the variation between them all, because just, they're so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna stop gushing now for a minute and actually talk about my plans for this yarn. So I have a pattern coming out at the end of September. It may be pushed to early October if deadlines don't work out. But I had a sample knit up, and I even posted pictures, and I called for testers and everything. And then I discovered that the yarn that I used has been discontinued. And if you're not a designer, then you won't know like how important that is. But when a yarn is discontinued, it's difficult to, not only do you don't really have a place to link it. You can link it on Ravelry, but then like you have to mention that, by the way, this yarn I used in this sample is discontinued. So if you were looking to make one that looks exactly like it, like you can't, it's discontinued. Which sucks. It always sucks as a designer. It has happened to me once before, and since then I've been very vigilant to check throughout the design process and make sure that the yarn company is still active, that specific yarn line, that specific colorway is still available. Like, I've been very vigilant about that, in terms of making sure that everything's all still there. But for this one kind of caught me by surprise. I was finishing it up the sample as I was in the middle of a move, so I didn't stop to double check all the places that I normally would, and then I didn't have time to actually list the pattern last year, so cut to this year, and I'm getting everything ready, and I'm finalizing the PDF, and I'm double checking all my measurements, and it's all looking great. And then I realized, oh dang, that yarn is no longer available, so I have to find a replacement. And Alaska is so sweet, and she has sent me the yarn for it, and they're all so beautiful, as I've already talked about and gushed about, and oh my god, they're so good. It is a marled cowl that I'm designing, or have designed already. So yeah, so I'm very, very excited to get this to get this on the go, and I'm so excited that the yarn arrived today because I knew as soon as it arrived I was gonna wind it up and get this cast on so I can get this sample done as quick as possible. And I'm really glad that the yarn came today because I was able to show it on the podcast. And that basically wraps up the end of episode 20 of the Ash Christine Designs podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I appreciate you so much. Until I see you guys next episode, my life is pretty much just going to be pumpkins and the Sinful yarn sample, and that's gonna be pretty much it. I don't really have any major plans to knit on anything else because my goal is to finish the pumpkin samples and finish the Sinful yarn sample as quick as possible. And then after that, I am just gonna be pretty much working through my works in progress and trying to get some off the needles. Alright guys, that wraps up episode 20. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I shall see you next episode, hopefully with some finished pumpkins and a decent amount of progress on the pattern sample. Thanks again for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye!